How are you, dude? You doing
Good.
okay? You look tired.
I'm at 3 hours sleep.
Yeah. Uh, can I use that video? Can I put that video at the beginning of this?
Sure.
Pancakes. You want TV or pancakes, Dad? You can come out for pancakes today. Dad, you're doing school drop-off, so you can have some pancakes. Chris, come here.
Ow.
I want to show you something.
Chris, what are you doing to me?
Hey, Chris, I want to show you something.
Why not use the one of my son just screaming in the middle of the soccer field?
I'll use that too. I'm very curious now. What is the context of that? Because this video, he's just losing his mind,
Yeah.
like legit losing his mind, just screaming as hard as I've ever seen a child scream.
Yeah.
And I cannot understand what could have caused him to do that. What is it? What happened? What happened, Eddie?
Bad parenting.
Get the fuck get out of here, dude. Get out of here.
No, I think it's a lack of words. He doesn't have the communication skills to say, "Fuck you, Dad. Fuck you, Dad." That was at soccer practice or soccer game for my daughter.
Okay.
And when you have two children, I mean, this is just in my experience because I don't know, because some people probably do it way better than us. We've noticed that our first daughter got all the attention in the world. And then the second kid doesn't get as much attention. And it's hard to take the attention away from the first kid because she's such a better kid. You just want to shower her. Now, it's like you don't realize that the first one still wants all the attention that they used to get.
Yeah.
And so you do it a lot because they demand it. And the second one's like, "Hey, I'm over here," and doesn't know how to use their words. So they're screaming like, "Why are we at her soccer game? Where's my game?"
Oh man.
Yeah. So like we'll be at her soccer game and he's like, "What about me? Why am I sitting on the sidelines?" Well, because you're two, you don't know how to kick a ball. And if you get hit in the face with one, you'll probably die.
so I've thought about this because quite a few people I've talked to have multiple kids, and the vibe that I get is exactly what you're describing, which is when it's just you and the first kid, you can not like overdo it, but you can put a ton of effort and energy and time into interacting with them and getting to know them. And that's why it's like we boil everything that needs to be cleaned, and we hush them to sleep every night while singing their favorite song, and we carry them around everywhere because they don't want to be put down or whatever, right? There's like a lot of attention because there's just so much bandwidth for it. And the moment a second child enters the fray, it's like you actually cannot do those things the same way you did with the first kid, because now you have a 2, 3, 4-year-old and an infant. And
I think it's a lot like driving cars. You can really only drive one. If you try to drive two, you're going to crash.
Is that a bit from is that a bit from your show? Because if not, that's solid.
I just thought of it right now. And it's I heard from everybody. One's easy, two are really tough, and then three is impossible. And this is funny. The other day, my wife and I were down in the Country Mart, and we saw a schizophrenic, like homeless guy, like just going berserk on the side of the street. And Lauren goes, "Oh, that poor guy." She's like, "Wonder what happened to him." And I go, third kid. like, like I honestly looked at that guy and I was like, that's me. That's me. If she would say I'm pregnant, I'd just be down there like, potato, like just losing my mind. I think it would put me over the edge.
So
And nobody ever asks like homeless, crazy people what happened. But I think because you never go up to them like, hey, excuse me, I was just wondering why you're sitting there peeing on yourself on the floor of, like just on the sidewalk on the Venice boardwalk. Why is that happening? And because people are just like, oh, walk around them, like, oh, watch out. No one ever says what happened. But that guy might say, third kid. Like it happened. Or fourth or fifth. But I have a theory after you go past 3, and I don't know. I was one of 5 kids, but I think once you go past 3, it gets easy. Because I think you stop giving a fuck. And you're just like, hey, if one dies, we've got like a bunch more. And like you start going, hey, these ones will take care of these ones. Like I always hear these stories. Like my oldest sister says she raised me. She's like, oh yeah, mom was just so busy all the time that I was the one raising you. And
so I'm one of 3, and my parents are both like one of like 7 on my dad's side and like 6 on my mom's side. But I feel like that's also a generational thing. Our generation isn't having multiple kids.
no,
we're not having like 4s and 5s. Not on purpose.
Rich people aren't. Poor people, poor uneducated people do it all the time. And
how? What you're describing is like it's like the most challenging thing in the world. We have way more bandwidth than,
because we have way more money to do fun shit, and they don't have a lot of money, so their fun is let's see what a baby will do. And they're like, let's pop out a baby, this will be fun. And oh, that's over, let's do it again. And there's also a lack of education, which when you get educated, they're like, hey, smart people, kids are fucking hard. Like if you want to raise a good kid, it's a shitload of work. And so you're like, ooh, I better rethink this idea. Where dumb people are like, I want another kid. Mountain Dew.